Good evening, everybody, and welcome to tonight's broadcast of the Hamilton County High School Football Coaches Show, presented by Logan Street Signs and Banners, celebrating 25 years in business. We'd also like to thank our other great participating sponsors, Greek's Pizza, South 10th Street, Noblesville. Dine in, or you can carry it out or have it delivered, 317-773-4444. Also sponsored by Noblesville Trophies, Community Health, and the Hamilton County Reporter at www.readthereporter.com. Well, it's great to be back with everybody for another football season. One of the best things about August is high school football starting, and we're starting out with one of the legends of high school football, entering his 36th season, Rick Wimmer from the Fishers Tigers. Rick, before we talk about the game Friday night, let's just talk a little bit about how the summer went with practice and how preseason has gone for the Tigers.
Yeah, well, I feel like we had a productive summer, and we attend a football camp at DePaul University, the Bishop Dullahan camp. So I've been working and attending with different teams through the years, and our Fishers team has gone there for a number of years, and we see a lot of good competition there, a lot of good teams, and I think that was productive for us. We had three guys who played on our state championship baseball team that missed a good part of the summer for very good reason.
Yeah.
Obviously we certainly don't fault them for that. We're happy that our baseball team got a state championship.
Of course, I remember a few years ago when you did that to the basketball team
yeah, and everybody pulls for everybody. So.
Yeah.
But John Vore and Colin Shelton and Grant Wetzel and actually A.J. Walderman, who's playing football as well. Actually, we have four guys that were involved in that, and so and John being our starting quarterback, I was a little bit concerned. He was going to miss that much of the summer and missed that Bishop Dullahan camp. But it was really a good thing for our backup quarterback Marcus Rue, who I thought had very good summer and developed and I thought it was productive for him, and I thought it kind of forced our team to develop in some other areas as well. So I thought it was a good summer for us, and we got through that, got through 2 days. We've stayed pretty healthy. You always have some guys banged up a little bit, but we haven't lost any player who we had slated in as a starter for for a significant time at this point. I mean, we played without two starters last week in the North Central game, but they're both going to get back. One of them will get back this week, and that's Hayden Tobias, who plays in our offensive line. So we'll be glad to have him back. The other one is Grant Wetzel, who's in our secondary, and we don't know when he'll get back. We think he'll get back. It's not a knee or anything broken or damaged or anything. Just it's a problem in the groin area, and he's just got to give it some time, and hopefully he'll get back. But I thought we had a productive summer, but obviously as we go into this first game, we still have some things we've got to work on. I thought we would play a little bit better. You got to give North Central credit for the job that they did, but. They're an athletic team, very talented. I thought we were maybe fare a little bit better than we did, but I still believe in this team. I feel like we're going to make progress. I feel like we're going to be better this week than we were last week. We'll just have to see how much we can improve.
I don't think there's anything to be ashamed of with North Central, Coach, because their program in the last several years has really, really come a long way. I was talking to some people the other day, and we were talking about North Central sports and basically saying, with the exception of basketball for years, when you saw North Central on the schedule, you thought, well, we can probably put a W in there. And the quality of their football program and their baseball program, but specifically football, has really, really come up tremendously in the last few years.
Well, Kevin O'Shea, this is his second year, and they beat us soundly. I mean, there was we weren't really in the game as the way we'd like to have been. I don't think we played as badly as the score might indicate. The biggest problem we had, I think, was tackling. We didn't tackle well, and then of course offensively, it took us a while to get going. I thought we played fairly well in the second half offensively, but we just had way too many 3 and outs in the first half and left our defense on the field way too much, and often in a very good field position for North Central. So that can make it tough on any defense. But we certainly have to get better with our tackling, and we need we dropped 9 footballs. We had kind of 9 drop passes. Our quarterback John Bohr was 13 of 36, which we really don't want to throw the ball 36 times, but we got behind and like I said, we had 9 drops. if you have 1 or 2 drops, percentage wise, it's probably a lot different game. But because if he has 1 or 2 drops, we're throwing 55-60% completions instead of 35 or 40 like we did.
Yeah, you look at you look statistically at the game, and some of the things were fairly close. Both teams fairly close in first downs. The Tigers with 14, North Central with 17. The yards rushed were not real close, but 180 versus 110. But it sounded to me from people that I had talked to who had been there, it was definitely a ball possession game for the Panthers.
Yeah.
And once they got out to the lead, they I really don't want to use the term cruise control, but they kind of locked things down on you guys.
Yeah. Well, like I said, we had I think our first 4 possessions were 3 and outs. Actually, we had 1 possession where we went for it on 4th down, and in our own territory. We were about 2 feet short, and we had a play, and I felt like we could get it. And you watch it on film, we would have gotten it, but we had a mix-up in the backfield, and thought we were ready to run the play. Obviously, we weren't. We'd been working on it for 2 weeks as a short yardage play, and so we just didn't execute it, and had a mess up in the backfield. So that gave him a short field. But our first. At least our first 4 possessions were 3 and outs, and just gave them real opportunity to take control of the game. And like I said, I thought we played better in the second half. Our tailback, H.L. Lewis, ended up with over 100 yards rushing. He had 104 yards rushing on the night on, I think, 22 carries or 24 carries, something like that. But as a team, we had a total of 110, so we didn't get a whole lot else. But I thought, in the second half, I thought he went down a little easy a couple times in the first half, and there was more yards for him. I thought our offensive line played okay, and I think we can play better, but we certainly played better than we did the week ago in our scrimmage with Lawrence North. So I think we're making progress there. We just have to continue to improve, and I think we will. We had a good practice tonight, and I'm eager to see what this team can. Where they can go from here.
Of course, one of the things that's happened in the Hoosier Crossroad Conference is the whole complexion of the conference changed there several years ago when the Lafayette schools all dropped out, and that opened opportunities for you guys to play other schools. And you have not been bashful about saying, bring on the big boys. Let's let's take on the North Centrals. They're going to be tough. The Cathedrals and those, and you haven't hesitated to play the better teams that are out there when you can get them.
No, we've played good team. North Central and Pike. They no question they play in a very good conference, and Pike won 6 games. Had a great year last year in that conference, and North Central won 3 out of their first 4, and then they kind of fell off towards the end, but it's against very good football teams, and I think Kevin O'Shea's done an outstanding job there, and will continue to do so. But we've struggled the last 3 or 4 years, I think, just being where I felt like we need to be when the season opens. And I don't think it's a matter of not being ready to play mentally or anything like that. I think we got to look at maybe what we're doing in the summer and maybe tweak our what we're doing in the summer. We've talked a little bit about it as a staff, but I just don't think we were ready to play good competition at this point in the year, because maybe we need to do some more of it in the summer, against other teams and some additional teams. I think the camp is a great experience for us. We see some really good teams at camp, but then that's about all we do until we get to the season, and other than just practice against ourselves. So I think we're going to look at that and maybe expand that and try to get in, compete a little bit more with other good teams in the summer, once or twice more in the summer, and see if we can't get ourselves a little more ready to play early.
Friday night, 7 o'clock, on the brand new AstroTurf there at Reynolds Tiger Stadium. Pike Red Devils come in. You talked just a little bit about them, but what's your impression of their team?
Well,
and what do you have to do to beat them?
They're like North Central, very athletic. They're going to spread you out a little bit, make you tackle in space. They have an athletic quarterback that can run and pass, which North Central did too. I think defensively they're a very physical defense. They'll come after you. They run very well on defense. They'll challenge your receivers with press coverage, and so in some ways they're very similar to North Central, and it's going to take we're going to have to show improvement as a football team to compete with them, and I think we can. I mean, I think we can win the game. We can compete. We've got to play a lot better than we did last week, and so I'm eager to see just how much we can improve this week. I feel like we can improve. We've made a couple changes. One, I mentioned Hayden Tobias, who is a center for us that hasn't played the last couple of weeks with an injury. We think we're going to get him back now. We're yet to be seen how close to 100% he's going to be, but. And he hadn't played in a couple weeks, but just getting him back and getting some more depth there in our offensive line, I think helps us. We may have lost Colin Stotts for the week, who's our top receiver, but we will get him back at some point. We'll have to see. It's questionable, I would say, for Friday, or probably not likely that he will play, but we'll have to see. He might improve quickly. So. And then defensively, we made a move and took a guy from our linebacking core, which we had three of our best players at linebacker. One of them was Roman Molden, who was a starting strong safety for us last year, and we felt like we needed to put him back in the secondary, and so we made that move this week, and then we'll see who that other linebacker ends up being for us. But we've made a couple moves, and we've obviously got to become a better tackling team this week, or tackle better. I mean, I don't think you're going to change totally what you're doing in a week, but I feel like we're a better tackling team than what we showed.
Well, I'm
last
sure the
Friday.
Tigers will find the way. They always do. Well, on behalf of Hamilton County Television Sports and Noblesville Trophies, we'd like to present you with a little cooler mug there
that's
in
great.
honor of the Fishers Tigers, and thank you for joining
It's
us
the
tonight.
right color. You got the right color.
Yeah, we got the right colors, and thank you. Coach Rick Wimmer of the Fishers Tigers. We'll be back with the Hamilton County Coaches Show in just a couple minutes.
Superheroes come in all shapes and sizes. They don't always meet in an underground fortress. Sometimes they meet in places that appear to be very ordinary to most people. But inside, there are heroes in training. Some are smart, strong, or brave. Maybe they can build cities, or heal people when they get hurt. But even superheroes need some help sometimes. With your support, we can change the world. Together, we are a force that can't be defeated. Support the club. Save the world. Support your local superheroes and donate now to the Boys and Girls Club of Noblesville at bgcni.org.
Can I help you?
Yeah, I'm looking for Logan Street signs and banners.
You found us.
But this ain't Logan Street. This is South 10th.
We moved 22 years ago.
Well, how come you didn't change the name?
That would have just confused people.
Well, actually, South 10th is Allisonville. If you're from Fishers.
Well, before that it was 37A, and before that it was State Road 37.
So you're telling me that Logan Street Signs and Banners isn't on Logan Street anymore? It's actually on South 10th. That's Allisonville and Fishers. And before that it was 37A and 37?
So you got that straight?
Logan Street Signs and Banners conveniently not located on Logan Street, but rather South 10th Street in Noblesville.
Exactly.
Can I help you?
Yeah, I'd like to order a hamburger, fries, salt, maybe a large vanilla shake. Yeah.
This is a trophy shop, can't you tell?
You got a counter right here. Isn't this where you place the orders?
We sell trophies, we sell plaques, we do embroidery. No food.
You got carry out?
Unlike the internet, everything that you need we have here at the shop. Very unique. You order today, carry out tonight. That's our version of carry out.
All right, I'll take one of everything.
Well, that may take a little longer. We'll have it for you tomorrow night.
You know, Jim, I'll be back tomorrow to pick it all up.
We'll wait for you.
Don't wait long.
Welcome back to tonight's broadcast of the Hamilton County High School Football Coaches Show, presented by Logan Street Signs and Banners, celebrating 25 years in business. We'd also like to thank our other great sponsors, Greek's Pizza, South 10th Street here in Noblesville. You can dine in, or you can take it out, or you can call ahead at 317-773-4444. Also, Noblesville Trophies, Community Health, in the Hamilton County Reporter at www.readthereporter.com. We're joined now by Noblesville Millers head coach Justin Roden. Coach, welcome to the Coaches Show. I know this is your first experience with us here at Hamilton County Television, and we'll try to make this as painless as possible. And in that, we enjoy having you here. Just a little bit about Justin in his first season here with the Millers. 6 seasons, I believe, overall as a head coach.
This is my 6th season as a head coach.
Yeah, and bringing a 47-21 record here to the head job for the Millers. What we want to talk about tonight is 3 things. First of all, just your overall impression of the team from the time that you were getting to know them last spring, and how summer camps and everything went for you guys.
Well, you know, when you first get the job, there's the energy that, you know, it's something new, something fresh, and so the kids kind of feed off that. The community feeds off that. Where we're at now, it's kind of the meat and potatoes. You know, reality is struck. You know, we played a really good Cathedral team Friday, and we look like a team in a program running a new system. We look like a team trying to figure each other out a little bit, and you know, we made some mistakes. We did some positive things, but you know, as far as where that team was in the summer where we're at now, it's still, I call it a work in progress. I really do.
Well, let's talk a little bit about the game Friday night. I managed to see part of it Friday evening, among other things, and I talked to my friend Jan Bozier over at IHSAA TV, and we were talking about the game today, and the first thing Jan said to me, he said, 31-7 is not reflective of how that game actually went. He said, you know, his impression was, and mine was too, from what I saw, is that unfortunately for you guys, you kind of dug yourself a hole there to begin with.
Yeah.
And it was just against a, you can't call Cathedral anything but a good to great program, and they
Absolutely.
And you know, in that, and like I was talking with Coach Wimmer a little bit earlier. You know, you guys here at Noblesville, you've always had the history of when you have non-conference games, you don't look for cupcake games. You guys set out with some good opponents, and you know, I think more and more coaches are believing that is the better route to go because it builds character.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, I felt like physically we matched up with Cathedral. Like I truly believe that, that we could compete with them. I felt honestly that we had constructed a good game plan. I thought both sides of our staff, offensive, defensively, both did a great job in preparation. There really was very few things that the Irish did that we weren't prepared for. But we had a breakdown here and there. In the passing game, we gave up 2 long passes. We gave up a 60-yard run that looked something out of a backyard football game when the tailback went to the left and turned at a big circle and ran 60 yards the opposite direction. And so we could just continually kicked ourselves in the derriere. We turned the ball over in that first half, and when you give up big plays like that, you're not going to beat a team of that caliber. And that's what we really talked about, even going into the game, that it was okay to bend but not to break. And those big plays like that really put us in a bad place. But even at the end of the half, when we blocked the field goal, I was jumping up and down like a madman on the sideline. I felt like one of our players would have picked that ball up and ran it into the end zone and maybe make the game 24-14 and completely change the dynamic of where the game was at. And honestly, in the second half, the game ended up being 31-7, but I really felt like in the second half we competed much better. Our offense executed at a much higher level. I would have liked to see we had a long drive go down there that we fumbled the ball there at the end, and that really was the dagger for us of putting together a pretty good drive and then not finishing it. So moving forward, we got to get through those growing pains. We got to value the football more. You can't throw the ball to the wrong team. You can't put the ball on the turf, and you can't give a big play. So you're not going to. There's very few people you can beat doing that. But we'll learn as we go, and we'll keep plugging forward.
Well, you were in kind of a unique situation here with this game from 2 perspectives. First of all, it's your first game as the head coach of the Millers. Second of all, in addition to playing Cathedral, which you already talked about, you're playing at Lucas Oil Stadium. Did that? How do you do anything different to prepare the kids for a game at Lucas Oil Stadium compared to at Noblesville, at HSE, at Fishers, at Westfield, or something like that?
It's for me, and it's only because this is the third time I've had a chance to go down there and coach a team in 4 years. I knew where the buses parked. I knew where the locker rooms or restrooms were. I knew the process. The problem was that I had a staff and a team that was, as much as I preached certain things, you're still playing in a stadium that holds 70,000 people. It's hard to hear in there. We didn't do a great job of communicating, even with the stadium not nowhere near what it could be. It's hard to hear inside there.
Yeah,
it's hard to breathe in there. You'll notice, especially in the second game, there were lots of kids going down with cramps, overheated. It's an environment that truly you really can't understand and grasp until you play in that that situation. I thought our kids. Then you talked about the beginning of not starting out well. I don't think we started out well because we were kind of in awe, of that whole surrounding. And truthfully, I don't know if you can be prepared for that. You really can't unless you get a chance to play in that game. And as you mentioned in the beginning, we're better off doing something like that, playing Cathedral and playing Carmel for the ultimate goal of hopefully winning our conference and winning a sectional championship. So if you're looking for cupcakes, they're not gonna pay much dividend at the end.
They don't develop character.
No, and I would say the 2 years at East Central when I went to the state championship game, both cases we started this season. I think one of them was 1-2, and the other one was like something like 1-3 or something of that nature. So we had losing records to begin both those seasons. But it was much better for us to play better competition.
Well, you alluded to Carmel here just a moment ago, and of course Carmel is coming over to your home field this Friday night, and a game that I believe we've got that on Hamilton County Television Friday night, if I'm not mistaken. Carmel Noblesville. We will have that game Friday evening. So it doesn't get any easier, but then, as you said, the tough games build the character.
Yeah, and it's a rivalry game. They're right down the road, it's a fun game. And one thing that I will say I've learned very quickly about Noblesville and their fans, they're passionate. Fridays here are a big deal. It's a big part of what the community does. It's a big part of getting together in the parking lot before the game, seeing people that you don't see during the course of weeks or even extended periods of time, and they're excited to be at a football game, and that means something at a time when there's so many distractions and things taken away from football. That Noblesville still proudly supports their football program. They're thirsty and desperate for a product on the field that represents that passion and desire for football. So as far as playing a Carmel team, I'd like to tell you that Carmel's not as talented and they're down this year, but that is certainly not the case. They are fantastic on both sides of the ball, and John is a really good coach. It's probably as good of a coached football team as you're going to find. You're watching offensive linemen take perfect steps off the ball. You're watching linebackers and secondary players orchestrate a technique that is spot on, that is perfect. So it's definitely a pretty tough task.
We have spoken numerous times here at Hamilton County Television about the caliber of teams both in Hamilton County and in the HCC, and it's a football county that's hard to beat.
No, I took this job because I wanted the opportunity to play and coach against the best teams in Indiana. And no disrespect to my old school and the people we played against. It was fun, and I'm a better coach for that. But every person wants to, I don't want to test their knowledge, but everyone likes a challenge. This challenge is pretty immense, and you're playing pretty not beside the fact you're playing talented teams, you're playing really good coaches.
Yeah.
All the coaches in this area are very well respected in their associations and throughout the United States. And when you're going against the best, you have to push yourself to grow as a coach and grow as a staff and grow as a program. So
it also has a tendency to bring out the best in people too.
It certainly does. It does, and I look forward to keep pushing forward and see how our kids react the rest of the way.
Well, Coach Roden, we welcome you to Noblesville and to the Millers and wish you a lot of success this season. We got a couple gifts here for you. We have a Hamilton County Television mouse pad, and we also have the proper color Noblesville logoed mug here for you, courtesy of Hamilton County Television and Noblesville Trophies. Thank you for being with us. We'll be back in a couple minutes after this on the Hamilton County Football Coaches Show.
Can I help you?
Yeah, I'm looking for Logan Street sign. But this ain't.
We moved 22 years ago.
Well, how come you didn't change the name?
That would have just confused people.
Well, actually, South 10th is Allisonville. If you're from Fishers.
Well, before that it was 37A, and before that it was State Road 37.
So you're telling me that Logan Street signs and banners isn't on Logan Street anymore? It's actually on South 10th. That's Allisonville and Fishers. And before that, it was 37A and 37?
So you got that straight?
Logan Street signs and banners conveniently not located on Logan Street, but rather South 10th Street in Noblesville.
Exactly.
When medical care is needed, where will you turn? With Community's Connect to Care program, one call or click finds you the closest open appointment. Request a time yourself, or let us do it. From a primary care doctor or virtual visit, to a med check or community clinic at Walgreens. Just call or click. You can go right to our website or to me. Connect to Care from Community.
Superheroes come in all shapes and sizes. They don't always meet in an underground fortress. Sometimes they meet in places that appear to be very ordinary to most people. But inside, there are heroes in training. Some are smart, strong, or brave. Maybe they can build cities or heal people when they get hurt. But even superheroes need some help sometimes. With your support, we can change the world. Together, we are a force that can't be defeated. Support the club. Save the world. Support your local superheroes and donate now to the Boys and Girls Club of Noblesville at bgcni.org.
Can I help you?
Yeah, I'd like to order a hamburger, fries, salt, maybe a large vanilla shake.
This is a trophy shop, can't you tell?
You got carry out?
Everything that you need, we have here at the shop. Very unique. You order today, carry out tonight. That's our version of carry out.
All right, I'll take one of everything.
Well, that may take a little longer. We'll have it for you tomorrow night.
I'll be back tomorrow to pick it up.
We'll be waiting for you.
Welcome back to tonight's broadcast of the Hamilton County High School Football Coaches Show, presented by Logan Street Signs and Banners, celebrating 25 years in business. We'd also like to thank our other great sponsors, Greek's Pizza, South 10th Street here in Noblesville. You can dine in, you can eat out, you can carry it out or dine ahead. Give them a call, 317-773-4444. Our other sponsors, Noblesville Trophies, Community Health, and the Hamilton County Reporter, www.readthereporter.com. We're joined by Hamilton Heights Huskies coach John Kirchner. John, in his first season as the head coach at Hamilton Heights, although he has been in the Heights program for a number of years. And John, we'd like to just talk first about transitioning obviously from an assistant to the head coach, and how did summer camps and everything go for you guys?
Well, if you talk transition, the biggest thing that was nice is because I've already been here for 4 years. If you look at the senior class that we currently have, most of them were on my 8th grade boys basketball B team that I coached in the first winter here at Hamilton Heights. And I built a relationship with those kids then. We weren't any good. We went 0-12. But they were tough, hard workers and did whatever you asked. And so with them, they knew, and being that I've been around the program now for 4 years, they knew who I was, what I was going to bring to the table, what to expect. And summer camp, attendance was amazing. Attendance was great, work ethic was great, attitude was great, and it still is. So overall, I thought we had a great summer. I thought we got stronger. We definitely got faster, and we got in shape.
Any major changes in the program over the summer?
In terms of
personnel changes or anything that you may not have anticipated, or?
No, not really. Everybody that was bought in last year showed back up. So no, not any real issue. We moved kids around. We got a couple tight ends playing guard and tackle right now just because that's where they're best suited to be successful for us on Friday nights.
Let's talk about last Friday night. The obvious question is here, John, is not only your first game as a head coach. The game is against Mount Vernon, and it just so happened that fate brought you and your dad together in a game. And
right.
I'm trying to remember if I've ever seen that happen before here, and I honestly don't remember it. It may have, and I just am not aware of it.
I have not heard of it. If it has, it's
we've had a number of situations where we've had fathers and sons coaching, but not against each other. But how was the experience overall for you, and how did you prepare for that? Did you do anything special for that?
The thing I tried to do is not buy into or read up on all the hoopla that was going on social media. Kirshner Bowl, hashtag Kirshner Bowl 2018. I didn't do anything special. I didn't really want it to be about me and my father. I really wanted it to be about the kids, that's what it's about anyway.
Yeah.
And I understand that, yes, that's what it is. And there's been some very nice articles written on the Indianapolis Star. Greg Doyle had one the other day. and it was it came out yesterday. It was really well written, and we've had a lot of comments about that on social media and things like that. It was emotionally draining. It was just not. It was tough, and I'm not talking about from the losing standpoint. Just there was a lot of weight on my shoulders.
Sure. Whether
it be the first game, but even more importantly, wanting to beat my dad, and knowing that I still want to coach with my dad one day. I mean, before he gets out, but he took the job first from Mount Vernon. The Heights job hadn't even officially opened yet, so I mean that was something there. But it was emotionally draining.
And so now it's maybe back to or onto a more normal type routine for you, hopefully?
Mentally, yes.
Okay.
Today was much calmer, I would think, for me. Just in overall school and everything else.
Yeah.
I'm not, it's just different.
Well, the crowd had to be pretty gratifying Friday night, too.
Yeah, we had a good crowd.
And,
they were into it and very supportive, and I know it didn't turn out the way we wanted, but you can't turn the ball over 5 times.
Well, I've been making the drive up and down Highway 19 a number of years for a lot of events up there in Husky country, and you guys have got some great loyal fans.
We do. We do.
In that. Specifically about the game, you ended up on the losing end of a 43-14 game, but what did you take away from that game that will help you guys?
Number one, there's a lot of simple mistakes we just can't make. We can't drop the ball. I mean, we can't drop a snap. We can't throw interceptions in a double coverage. I mean, we had 5 turnovers. We had a 6th one that we recovered. We had a 7th one that we were able to get a hold of. I mean, you can't do those things. The penalties that we had, 7 of the 8 penalties that we had were false starts and jumping off sides. That's just simple disciplinary stuff. And if I go back and if you really begin to break down the film, Mount Vernon's a good football team. We were going to have to play 4 quarters to beat them. We were going to have to play 4 quarters of solid football to be there ready to go to get them at the end. I firmly believed if we did that, we could get them 100%.
Well, having lived in Hamilton County for almost 30 years, of course, Mount Vernon is just across the county border.
Sure it is.
And, we followed them very closely. And that's for another growing district, just like so many of them are here in Hamilton County, they've always had a good football program.
They have. I think they've only had 2 losing seasons, and in the last 2 or 3 losing seasons in the last 20 years, and one of them was last year.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, they're always competitive. They're always competitive in the league. They're competitive in their sectional. And then now with the coaching staff that they currently have, I mean, they're you could just tell it's a different ball team.
Yeah.
They're well coached.
Well, you go on the road up to North Montgomery this Friday night for a 7 o'clock kickoff. Tell us a little bit about North Montgomery, what you expect from them, and how you're preparing for them.
North Montgomery, they are big. They got some large people up front, tall, 6'4", 260 type kids. I think they're very physical. I think they come downhill really hard. They're not a complicated defense, but I do think what they do, they execute very well. Offensively, they've got several kids, especially skilled kids, returning. That are their quarterback, for instance, is a gunslinger. I think he can throw a ball pretty well, and I think he moves in space pretty well. We got to contain the quarterback, so that's going to be one of the main emphasis is containing that quarterback and making sure he doesn't get outside the pocket, because if he does, he's going to take off. So that's a couple of things there that we're really emphasizing on. And the main thing with us in terms of getting them this week is we have to execute the small things. We have to be fundamentally sound. We were not fundamentally sound in any facet of the game, in my opinion, Friday night. And that was the biggest issue. And so our main focus is us this week.
How's the health of the team?
We did lose one kid for the season, our starting tailback. We lost him to an ACL, and we did lose another pretty good receiver. He's out for at least a month.
That's Coach John Kirchner, head coach of the Hamilton Heights Huskies. And, Coach, we'd like to present you with a couple of items here, compliments of Hamilton County Television and Noblesville trophies, a mouse pad, and also a Hamilton Heights Huskies cooler glass here from
Thank you very much. I appreciate
from
that.
Hamilton County Television. Good luck this weekend. We look forward to seeing you next week. That's
Sounds good.
Coach John Kirchner of the Hamilton Heights Huskies. We'll be back with more on the Hamilton County Coaches Show after these messages.
Can I help you?
Yeah, I'm looking for Logan Street Science and Band.
You found us.
But this ain't Logan Street. This is 10th.
We moved 22 years ago.
Well, how come you didn't change the name?
That would have just confused people.
Well, actually, South 10th is Allisonville. If you're from Fishers.
Well, before that it was 37A, and before that it was State Road 37.
So you're telling me that Logan Street Signs and Banners isn't on Logan Street anymore? It's actually on South 10th. That's Allisonville and Fishers. And before that it was 37A and 37?
So you got that straight?
Logan Street Signs and Banners conveniently not located on Logan Street, but rather South 10th Street in Noblesville.
Exactly.
When medical care is needed, where will you turn? With Community's Connect to Care program, one call or click finds you the closest open appointment. Request a time yourself, or let us do it. From a primary care doctor or virtual visit, to a med check or community clinic at Walgreens. Just call or click. You can go right to our website or to me. Connect to Care from Community.
Superheroes come in all shapes and sizes. They don't always meet in an underground fortress. Sometimes they meet in places that appear to be very ordinary to most people. But inside, there are heroes in training. Some are smart, strong, or brave. Maybe they can build cities or heal people when they get hurt. But even superheroes need some help sometimes. With your support, we can change the world. Together, we are a force that can't be defeated. Support the club. Save the world. Support your local superheroes and donate now to the Boys and Girls Club of Noblesville at bgcni.org.
Can I help you?
Yeah, I'd like to order a hamburger, fries, salt, maybe a large vanilla shake.
This is a trophy shop, can't you tell?
You got carry out?
Everything that you need, we have here at the shop. Very unique. You order today, carry out tonight. That's our version of carry out.
All right, I'll take one of everything.
Well, that may take a little longer. We'll have it for you tomorrow night.
I'll be back tomorrow to pick it up.
We'll be waiting for you.
Welcome back to the Hamilton County High School Football Coaches Show, presented by Logan Street Signs and Banners, celebrating 25 years in business. We'd also like to thank our other great sponsors, Greek's Pizza, 317-773-4444 on South 10th Street here in Noblesville. You can dine in or you can carry it out, order ahead, or whatever you'd like to do. Noblesville Trophies, Community Health, the Hamilton County Reporter at readthereporter.com. Got a lot of activity coming up this week on Hamilton County Television. Coming up Friday night, we'll have two exciting high school football games. The Carmel Greyhounds will be visiting the Noblesville Millers, and also Decatur Central will be at Westfield. Both of those games start at 7 o'clock Friday night here on Hamilton County Television. And we'd like to also remind you that we've partnered with the Fishers High School to showcase their student-produced sports also on Hamilton County Television. Now you can watch Fishers Sports Network games on www.hctv2.com on the Sports Channel. Our next guest is going to be Jake Gilbert, head coach of the Westfield Shamrocks. Perry Williams had a chance to catch up with Jake earlier today. Here's what they had to say.
Well, welcome. I'm Perry Williams, and I'm today at Westfield High School interviewing Coach Jake Gilbert. Welcome, Coach.
Hi, Perry. Let's do it again.
Yeah, it's always fun to be here at Westfield, and This last week you played Harrison, got a victory. Let's talk a little bit about that, because you had some spots to fill from graduation. So let's talk a little bit about some of the new players and some of the old players. I know you have kind of an experienced line, but offensive line, but let's talk a little bit about it.
Sure. Where do you want to start?
Well, let's start with the quarterback, because you do have a new quarterback.
Yeah, Camden Simons. We've been waiting for him for a long time. He got to play some last year. 6'5" junior, very accurate, completes about 70% of his passes for as long as I've known him. Runs the ball really well, but above all, just a great leader and a great kid. He's a captain for us as a junior. A lot of seniors even voted for him, so that tells you that the team is really behind him and believes in him. So we're thrilled to have him, and I think he'll have a monstrous year. I really do.
That speaks volumes when your seniors vote for a junior for a captain. So, that's kind of a big spot that you need to fill. Let's talk about a little bit about the running game.
Sure. Kind of running by committee. We played 3 running backs the other night. 2 of them averaged over 7 a carry. Nathan Wynn's a senior in his first year playing running back, and he played great. Had just over 100 yards, had a touchdown. Eli Patchett's playing both ways for us. Gives us a little more size and speed. Maybe not as polished as a runner, but just plays so dang hard. And he can do so many things: catch it, make you miss, outrun you. Just an excellent football player overall, to be honest, one of our best. And then Micah Hauser, who's only a freshman, but his very first carry scored a touchdown and is an outstanding football player, one of the best I've ever had growing up. He'll be a great player by the time he's older. But even though he's only a freshman, we put him in there, and he delivered and did great things for us. So for 2 of our backs to average over 7 to carry, and to get Micah involved a lot as well, that was a good day for us.
Well, when you have a good passing game and give your quarterback an opportunity to throw the ball, and you have a good running game, there's a reason for that, and that's those guys in the trenches up front that sometimes don't get as much credit that they deserve, really, Coach.
Sure.
So let's talk a little bit about that group up front.
Well, we returned a few guys, and so we're excited. We think we have some very good linemen in the junior class, but I'd like to talk about our seniors. So we only have 2 seniors, but Drew Johnson, he's been terrific, and he's started here for the last couple of years. But Drew is a team captain as an offensive lineman and could be our best leader in that senior class, and he's just a rock for us. But the guy that I really want to talk about, Justin Case, is a senior, and he's just been battling to start and hold off some younger guys and coming to work every day and doing his job, and we gave him the nod here in his first game, and he was offensive player of the game for us.
Wow, that's big.
We're just really excited for a senior to stay with it and work, and get a chance, and then to produce. So, great story. So we're really excited for Justin, and really excited about our offensive line overall.
Good. Now, what about receivers?
Well, Dane Wheeler had a good game, had 4 catches, but we really spread it around. We had about 8 different guys catch a pass.
Yeah, I noticed that in looking at the stats on Friday night after your game that I don't think anybody will be able to key on one receiver for you. I think you have a lot of people who can catch a football, and that's a good thing.
Yeah, I hope so. So, again, an accurate quarterback, that helps, but we have a lot of guys who we trust in there. A couple guys got their first start, Sam Baldwin, Jacob Riddle, and then we know Pat Beam will be a great player for us. Dane Wheeler's also a returning starter, so we have a couple guys who are coming back, and should be a good year throwing the ball.
Good. Hey, Coach, the one thing about it, speaking of Hauser being a freshman, I mean, this is very unusual for you to bring up to play a freshman. Is that correct? I mean, in 6A football,
I mean, never.
That's a talent. Yeah, that's a talent level this young man
sure
has. So that speaks volumes too.
Yeah, he's ready. He's battling to be a starter. He's behind a couple guys on both sides of the ball, but he is just an outstanding football player and is only going to get better. So Yeah, I don't know that I've ever played a freshman this much this early, certainly not here at Westfield.
Okay. Now let's talk a little bit about that defense, because I know through the years you've always taken pride on your defensive play. So let's talk a little bit about your defense for the Shamrocks.
All in all, pretty happy with our performance. We had given up 3 points at half. They scored 2 late touchdowns, so our subs have to get a little better there at the end. But we did force 3 takeaways, which led to 21 of our points in the first half. Ryan Mahoney was outstanding at defensive end, so we were really encouraged and happy by him. Played a lot of different guys in the secondary and at linebacker and showed a little depth, so I was pleased there. Jeremiah Edwards stepped up and played pretty well at outside linebacker. Shannon Bola had an interception. So in the first half, we gave up 2 plays over 4 yards. Both were kind of busted quarterback runs. I was pretty pleased in the first half. Second half, I think maybe we got a little fatigued. We subbed. We got a little sloppy. Could have done a little bit better in the fourth quarter. But all in all, I think we held them to 3 points until the last couple of drives.
That's great. That's great. What about the kicking game? Because that's the one thing I always try to emphasize, not only the kicking game but that special teams is how important that is. That can make a big difference, especially in a punter who can maybe kick, lengthen that field out a little bit where you can get 5 or 10 yards. Opponent deeper back, and also the same way with the return guys, and of course field goal and extra point kickers are a great part of the football game.
Absolutely. Yeah, we've won some games with our kickers here in
absolutely
the past.
Here.
Well, we think we'll have one of the state's best in Alex Bales. He didn't play particularly well the other night, Friday, but Andy Manzer did come in and have a huge punt for us out of the end zone and nailed a punt, and that was good to see. So we think that'll be a strength of our football program. We just missed a couple field goals, but one of them was a 50-yarder. I think we'll be just fine there overall, but I think Alex Bales will be one of the best. And then Sam Lapierre as a snapper is a senior for us and just Mr. Consistent and does a great job there. So we feel like our special teams will be a strength.
Absolutely. Well, Coach, coming up this Friday, Decatur Central. Decatur Central, I know they lost some key players, on that Decatur Central team from last year who lost their first game against Franklin Central last year. This year they beat Franklin Central 14-0. Franklin Central had a great season last year, and now they're in our conference. So, and you kind of replaced. You played Southport last year in this position. This year, Decatur Central, which looks like they're, they now they've won 11 in a row, counting, they lost the first game against Franklin Central there. So, they ran off 10 straight games, and then they started off this season, got beat in the playoffs, of course. I think, third round or something. I think they played 3 games. And
something like that, yeah.
So let's talk a little bit about what you're expecting from Decatur Central and Coach Enright's team.
Well, they're very athletic and fast, and they have some playmakers for sure. So we're going to have to match that. They play hard. A good level of swagger and intensity coming out of those guys. They're in your face defensively. They blitz. They play man coverage. Offensively, they're going fast and really using their speed as an advantage. So they put stress on you. They put, pressure on you to do the right thing and play with discipline and execute because they have playmakers. And so they're kind of scary to watch on film. There's no doubt about that. They averaged over 40 points a game last year with their offense. This year they just shut an opponent out who won 10 games the year before. Yeah. So pretty scary opponent.
And the one thing about it in reading, they're pretty strong on the defensive side too in this season. So, they got
to shut someone out. I don't care who you are. That's especially a good opponent. Franklin Central was ranked last week like 8th in 6A, and to shut them out, that shows you quite a bit.
Yeah, it shows you a lot. Well, Coach, the one thing about it playing Decatur Central this week, you're at home, and in fact, Hamilton County TV will be here to broadcast that game this week. So so we'll be here, and we're excited. I believe we're doing 3 or 4 games here, and where do you play Noblesville? You here or there?
Noblesville's there this year.
So we'll have you that game too, because we'll be doing that game. So the Shamrocks can be seen a lot on Hamilton County TV, which was really, really great. Well, Coach, we're just now getting started. I mean, and you got one victory behind you. I know last year, due to injuries or due to whatever, you started out real well, and then the injury bug kind of hit you a little bit. But from season to season, a coach learns, and that's the one important thing, along with the team.
Yeah, we're excited. I mean, last year, we'd won 19 out of 22, but then we lost 6 in a row, so we hadn't been in that position for a while. But we got to play a ton of kids, and so a lot of those kids are back this year. So we have more experience than probably we've ever had here at Westfield.
Really,
yeah.
Really. And, of course, I know that off the air last year, we always talked about your feeder program and how well it was doing. You feel very confident that program's heading in the right direction. So you have players coming up through your system that you feel very confident.
We feel like our freshmen are probably the best class we've ever had.
Really? Okay.
And, our 8th graders and 7th graders haven't lost in a couple years. And the 7th grade, they were state runner-up last year in the travel ball IEFA. And so we feel like we have kind of a bubble of kids coming that's really, really good. And we're excited. But you know what? We're excited about these seniors we have right now.
Oh, too. Absolutely. It's always important, but it's always good to have you have that feeder system, and it may not end. But for those seniors, and it all starts with them because of their senior leadership. And there's a lot of times as coaches today, those seniors become a very, very important part of your program because they can sometimes go and talk to a young man that is not performing like that, holding them to a high level.
Yeah, we rely on them for a lot here, leadership-wise, and just kind of set the tone and tempo of everything we're doing. For a family and commitment program, then it's going to start with those guys.
Absolutely.
Seniors.
Well, Coach, I appreciate you taking time because I know that you have a very, very busy schedule come football time and your duties at the school and also with the football program. And, I saw some pictures of you. You were out at the elementary youth football this past weekend, so it never ends, right?
There's a lot. You got to love it.
Yeah, you have to love it. So. We do. So
you need a great wife.
Yeah, behind every
absolutely
good man's a good woman, right? Yeah. So, well, appreciate it, Coach, and we'll be looking forward to coming and talking to you next week and talking a little bit about how the outcome with Decatur Central is, and wish you the best.
Thank you so much. Appreciate all you do.
All right, appreciate it.
Welcome back to the Hamilton County High School Football Coaches Show, presented by Logan Street Signs and Banners, celebrating 25 years in business. We'd also like to thank our other great sponsors. Among them are Greek's Pizza. Give them a call, 317-773-4444. You can dine in, you can take it out, or you can order it ahead of time, whatever works for you. That's Greek's Pizza, the official pizza of the Coaches Show. Also by Noblesville Trophies, Community Health, and the Hamilton County Reporter at www.readthereporter.com. We're joined now by Hamilton Southeastern's new coach, Adam Morris, and I think of all the coaches in Hamilton County, this man has got to be the happiest coach this week with the week that you guys and the game that you guys had Friday night. But before we get to the game Friday night, Coach, I know a lot of people are curious about just how the transition to coach, back to head coaching has gone for you, and how about moving into Hamilton Southeastern and putting a staff together, summer activities and that, and just getting this team going.
Sure. I think one of the parts that's been the toughest but also the coolest for me is we had a lot of turnover. That staff that had done a great job, won a lot of football games. They have made Hamilton Southeastern football what it is. I think they kind of all made the decision to get out together, which was tough because then you got to put a staff together and you're losing some really good coaches, but also gets a chance to kind of let me put my own stamp on it. Got an offensive coordinator by a guy by the name of David Whites, who's coming from Warren Central, part of a state championship there, as well as Lawrence Central. Coach Waller coming from Ben Davis, Coach Kazmierzak, who's been the head coach at Mount Vernon, Fortville, been all over the place. Got some really good guys together. Started in the weight room in the winter and spring. We put a huge emphasis on the weight room. Progressed into the summer, started to install offense and defense. Normally, you'd like to be a little bit more ahead, June 4th or whatever it was that day we started. That was literally day one. Sometimes you can get some stuff in and some classroom work with your kids. But our kids have progressed and done a great job, and I've been really pleased and feel good with where we're at.
Well, let's talk about Friday night. I was sick last week, and I'm not trying to make excuses, so I actually only got to see about half of that game Friday night. And during the first half, it was kind of like, uh-oh. And it was like, this is not good. But the second half of that game, it was like the tale of two halves. What did you tell them at halftime?
Yeah, well, I don't think it was I don't think the score was all that indicative of the first half. I felt like we were driving the football. We decided to go for it on a drive instead of taking the points. Hindsight's always 20/20. I probably should have kicked the field goal. And we were driving the ball. We just couldn't finish drives. Defensively, we got some stops, but because we weren't having drives, we've spent a lot of time on the field. I think in the second half, our kids just started to believe. I don't know that they truly felt that way at the start of the game. LC is a good team. They can still accomplish all the things that people think they can accomplish, and all we did was guarantee we won't go winless. So there's a lot of football left to play, but I'm definitely happy for our kids.
Well, it was definitely the tale of two halves there, and taking it right down to the last 34 seconds to clinch the victory, which had to be very sweet for you.
Yeah, it was really cool. It's tough. I challenged our coaches, challenged our kids. Of course, we're going to be locked in and do everything we can to win the game, but that was really an experience of a lifetime for our kids, for our parents, for our coaches, and that balance of trying to soak it all in while at the same time having to call the game and play the game, and it was really special. I think it kind of almost euphoric for our kids. All the work, all the new that they've been through to end it that way was really special.
Well, Coach Roden from over here in Noblesville, they played in the first game against Cathedral, and he was saying that it was very, very different playing at Lucas Oil compared to playing in any other high school venue.
Yeah, without question. I think your kids are excited. You feel prepared. You think you're going to be fine when you walk out there. But to actually walk out there and to have the kids look up and the music's a little bit louder and things are a little bit more intense, it was definitely a unique sense, brought a little bit more adrenaline that you cannot simulate in practice. I don't care what you do.
Did I'm trying to think of the right words here. I know the overall atmosphere was different. I mean, obviously, playing an arena with 65,000 seats in it, and the dynamics are so much different. Did the kids? Did you feel like they were maybe just a little bit awestruck walking in there? Or?
Oh, I think so. Kids, some coaches. We were lucky. We have some coaches who have played in state championship games in the Horseshoe Classic before, but we had some coaches, that hadn't experienced stuff like that. So it's different for everybody. But I definitely felt like as the game progressed, our program got comfortable.
How about the later start? Did that have any effect?
That was definitely challenging. And do you send kids home? Do you keep them there with you? How late the game ended. I mean, our buses didn't get back, till 1 or even later in the morning. And then you got kids who got to get up and play a JV game the next day. The time was probably more challenging, in my opinion, than the venue.
Well, obviously, a great start to a season, Coach, in that. This week, you're back at Reynolds Royals Stadium, and North Central comes in. North Central really did a number on Fishers this week, and I would expect them to come in high as a kite and ready to try to do a number on the Royals Friday night.
Yeah, they're a really good team. Coach O'Shea's done an unbelievable job. I think the quarterback's probably the best one that we're going to see this year, between him and Grimmel at Noblesville. They have a receiver, Trayvon Elliott, who's really special. He's got 7 or 8 touches, and it's like he's got 7 or 8 touchdowns almost every time he touches the ball. He scores. Physical back, a little bit younger on defense, but they're really active up front in the box. It's going to be a real challenge.
How about health-wise? How's the team looking this week?
Pretty healthy. You know, we had some guys. We lost some guys for the year. The week of the controlled scrimmage and actually the week before that. But last week in practice and in the game, we came out healthy and we're in good shape.
You had some really weird weather to contend with this summer too. Some, the hot, humid, muggy weather, a few cool days, rain days, and you kind of had a lot of variables thrown at you for practices this summer.
A lot of moisture, like you're saying, and we just got on it today actually for the first time. We have beautiful new turf that we did not have to use in the summer, so our practices are on grass, so you're balancing that. We're not going to play a game on grass, but we got to practice in it. We got to do what we need to, but then you throw the rain on top of that, definitely threw in a lot of variables. I thought our coaching staff did a great job just keeping our kids focused, just coaching them no matter where we're at.
I was going to ask, the turf is all ready, and we're all ready to go for Friday night.
We were out there today. They were excited.
Super. Well, Coach, we appreciate you joining us this afternoon, and congratulations on a great victory Friday night down at the Lucas Oil Stadium. When I was looking at the write-up on that game, I thought this should be a good close game, and couldn't have gotten a whole lot closer. We'd like to give you a couple gifts here from Hamilton County Television. First, a Hamilton County Television sports mouse pad, and then in royal blue, a Hamilton County Television Sports Royals mug there for you. Hope you'll enjoy that, and thank you for joining us here on the sports program this evening.
Thank you.
We'd like to thank everybody for watching the Hamilton County High School Coaches Show, presented by Logan Street Signs and Banners, celebrating 25 years in business. We'd also like to thank our other great sponsors: Greek's Pizza, Noblesville Trophies, Community Health, and the Hamilton County Reporter at readthereporter.com. Our final interview tonight is with John Hebert, the head coach of the Carmel Greyhounds. Perry Williams had a chance to catch up with Coach Hebert earlier this afternoon, and here's that interview.
Well, welcome. I'm Perry Williams. This is Hamilton County Coaches Show, and I'm with John Hebert, the head coach of the Carmel Greyhounds. Welcome, Coach.
Thank you very much, Perry.
In talking before we got on the air, you and I have a lot in common with being around the legendary Jim Belden my early years as a junior and senior, and then you in 89, me in 69, so it was actually almost 20 years later. But let's talk a little bit, because you guys had a big victory, and not only Trinity out of Kentucky was the state champions. They had won 50 games in a row and put a pretty good whipping on you last year. So the stakes were very high, because I know, being around Carmel and Carmel fans, that they expect the best. So let's talk a little bit about that game. You went with a two quarterback. You used two quarterbacks. Let's talk a little bit about the quarterbacks and stuff in this game.
Well, we kind of knew going into it that into the season that we had two guys that we think can play at a high level on Friday nights. So one of them, Gabe Quigley, filled in last year as a sophomore, and he played 3 games. He went 2-1 as a starter, and he threw 6 touchdown passes, had 0 interceptions, and can run the ball a little bit, and smart kid. And so we felt like he could give us something this year. But then, the only reason he played was because our number 2 quarterback last year had broken his leg, Tyler Trent, who's now a senior. So Tyler recovered, fortunately, from his injury, and he was prepared to really compete this summer and in the fall. And so we came out of fall camp, and we felt like both guys were pretty close to even. And, Tyler had a slight nod, so we started him. But, we played Tyler 2 series, and then we played Gabe 2 series. And, Friday night, Gabe had we really started moving the ball when he came in. So it was the 3rd series of the game. He drove us down the field, and he threw a 45-yard touchdown pass to junior Christian Williams. And we felt really good about that. He got his next series. We went down, and we think we scored a touchdown. The officials saw it differently, thought we dropped the ball, but we ended up getting 3 points out of that drive. And so here's Gabe, 2 series, 10 points, feeling pretty good. And but we were committed to keeping that rotation going. So Tyler comes back in, and he starts finding a rhythm and making plays. In fact, we stayed in it long enough into the fourth quarter that we had an opportunity to potentially win the game on the last drive, and it was Tyler Trent that led that, and he completed a 35-yard pass to Skylar Bradley, senior, and he was roughed. They roughed the passer on that throw, so we got a total of 50 yards out of it, and then about 3 plays later, he hit senior Sam Rogers in the end zone on a post route, and we're in position to win the game. So I don't know that we know much more now about the two other than we like them both. Yeah. So we're going to keep doing it for a while.
The amazing thing that I saw the quote, and I read a lot of newspapers over the weekend about games and things like that, and so I apologize, I don't remember which paper it was in, but it was talking about Tyler Trent and how he said that he felt like that you guys were going to win the game. I mean, the kids had enough confidence, and it sounds like they, as using the 2 quarterback session there, that you guys feel very comfortable, and so do they. So that's the important part, is they feel comfortable and they know their role of what they need to do.
Yeah, and we're always looking for opportunities to teach these kids and help them and guide them, and so we're watching them pretty closely. We're looking for signs for one of them to not like this competition, or maybe they're not really rooting for the other guy or supporting him well enough, and we haven't seen any of that. I mean, they're both really behind each other and trying to help each other, and I'm looking closely. In fact, when Gabe came in and did some great things, I looked over and I see Tyler really jumping up and down and supporting him. So I feel like if we're doing it that way, then that's going to affect our whole team.
Oh, absolutely.
They're in it and for the right reasons if they're acting that way, and get the job done. That's the motto.
Yeah, and the one thing about the game of football, it takes a team. One individual or 2 individuals can't make a team. It takes everyone. Well, let's talk about, I always, being a big guy and being around a lot of linemen and everything, let's talk a little bit about that offensive line, because sometimes they don't get the credit or accolades that most people do, but they're an important part of your football game.
There's no question about it, and we're very pleased with our offensive line. We feel like we're pretty deep there, and we've got some really good ones. One of the things Friday night, we didn't run the ball as well as we wanted to, but it wasn't, a lot of times, and I have a pretty strict policy here that we don't criticize the offensive line during games. We don't yell out, "We've got a block," or former offensive lineman myself. Yeah. I never appreciated somebody doing that, because there's more to it than meets the eye. Sure. And that's where we are when we look at the film from Friday night. The way Trinity was playing, they were really overloading us. We weren't able to really make them pay for that, their safety support, and just the way they were committed to stopping the run. We tried, to throw the ball over their head a few times, and it worked a couple of times. But our offensive line works really hard. We've got a good balance between juniors and seniors. Senior Caleb Schaefer is a right guard for us, and does a fantastic job. He's going to Miami of Ohio. Dominic Cate is the other guard. He's a senior and really good, tough player, great leader. And then Matt Kleppinger is a returning starter at the left tackle. And then we have center Sloan Goldblatt. And then we have Thor Crocht at the right tackle spot. And then we also rotate Chase Southard, who's a senior. So we've got, we've got a couple of juniors in there playing. We've got We're rotating a little bit for depth, and we've got a couple of young guys that we think in a couple of weeks might get in there too.
Well, good. Well, let's talk a little bit about that defense, because the one thing about your defense this season, the game on Friday against Trinity, I mean, they're a high-powered offense. I mean, this is a team that puts a lot of points on the board. So for you guys to be able to hold them to 21, I mean, granted it's 21 points, but they've put points on the board, and they're known for their offense.
Yeah, Andrew Coverdale is their offensive coordinator, Noblesville grad.
Yeah, absolutely.
People around here know him,
yeah.
and people around the country know him. He is really good, and I've heard him speak many times, and I marvel all the time at just how intricate his offensive system is. You have to have really good players, and we feel like this group right here, we've got 9 starters back, and a good balance of guys and people that have really put a lot of time in to make themselves great players. And Bo Robbins,
everybody knows who he is,
right?
I mean,
Bo Robbins, and he Indiana commit, and his father's a police officer here in Carmel, and Bo just, we feel like he just kind of flipped a switch and took over the game in the second half, and just forced the quarterback to make a bad throw, and he tipped the ball, and so it was a lateral, and then he scooped it up and he ran it in 45 yards for a touchdown, and just like that, we're in the lead. Guys start believing a little bit more, and the best part about him is he's so humble. He's all about his teammates and doesn't want to take credit for anything. And Joey Schmidt's another name from Carmel's past. The Schmidts
sure.
Also, he's got an uncle that's a state trooper, but here in Hamilton County.
Yeah.
He had a lot of great plays for us. Another senior named Ryan Talev, a great game. So, by and large, our defense was able to get stops, get them off the field. We forced them to punt 9 times.
Yeah.
And you
got them to turn over the ball too, which is what they don't do very often either.
Right. They don't make mistakes.
No.
We made a lot. We turned the ball over 4 times.
Yeah.
And they made us pay for it. We got the turnover with Bo, but it's hard. It's hard to make them make mistakes.
Absolutely. Well, Coach, I appreciate you talking about Trinity, and it, and a big victory there. But as it is in football, and this is the first game in the season, there's always one next Friday. Okay, and you go to Noblesville, all right, and you play over there. Let's talk a little bit about the Millers and what I'm sure you've watched a lot of film already.
Mm-hmm.
They struggled offensively a little bit against the Cathedral down at Lucas Oil, but with my interviews with Justin Road and everything, I'm sure he'll be shoring up some of that stuff in this week's practice. So, it's just another football game, and it's you got to when you're Carmel, you got to lace it up every week, and you can't live on the past. You have to move forward.
No question about it. And I have all the respect in the world for Justin Roden. He and I have been friends for years. He's a great defensive guy. He and I share a lot of the same outlooks. I know what they're trying to do. I've seen it work at East Central. We scrimmaged them last year. I think it's a matter of time.
Yeah.
And I also think that, you look at the progress a team makes week 1 to week 2, there's a lot there for Noblesville to really sink their teeth into and solidify. How are our guys going to respond?
Yeah.
I feel like you have a big emotional win, and you beat a team like Trinity, and coming back today to work or the next day or the next week is a big challenge. So
Sure.
that we've got our work cut out for us. Last year in the playoffs, it was halftime, and I believe the score was 7-0. And we came back into the locker room, and Noblesville had only won 1 game,
Right.
And they hung with us the entire time. So, there's not a big difference
No,
there.
no.
And that's 6A football.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely.
It's hard to win for anybody.
Right.
I think for us, we kind of sell ourselves a little bit as I wouldn't call us an underdog, of course, but we play teams that are more athletic than us and, have more skill in certain places than us. And so we're in that mindset a lot. And, that's something that, you get into a game like this, and I'm not sure that our kids know how to feel. Back when you and I were in school, Carmel and Noblesville, those were the big rivalries.
Big rivalries, yeah.
The biggest.
Yeah.
And so, and I know that's something that if I'm Justin, I'm circling that game because it's really going to set the tone for his development of his team and program's identity.
Absolutely.
So there's a lot there that I know the Millers are working on to try and establish in this game. And for us, our task is we've got to get going and start over and try not to turn the ball over, 4 times last week. We've got to run the ball better. We didn't run the ball very well. Noblesville's run defense, from what I can tell, is pretty good. I think Cathedral's defense is very good. So,
yeah. Cathedral's a good football team.
Yeah.
They have a great program there.
They sure do. And it was very clear to me that, that's a really tough first opponent for Justin. He's just starting the program and trying to get him going. And
trying to get a little momentum. And
The schedule makers there must have, they weren't in the same room, I guess, when the schedule was made. But, I'm convinced, and I've known Justin now for several years, I'm convinced that it was the great hire of the offseason in the state. And I think that, we're going to see this rivalry really renew because he's a competitor.
Oh, big time.
And he's a great guy. He's the kind of guy that you can compete against, and then you can laugh with him too.
Yeah.
He's not going to distance himself from you because you play each other, and I appreciate that.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Well, Coach, I thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule and talking to us here at Hamilton County TV. And like I said, we will be at Noblesville on Friday night. Myself and Craig Atkins will be broadcasting that game on Hamilton County TV. So I appreciate you taking time out of your busy schedule and talking to us. Thank you.
Absolutely, Perry. Thank
appreciate
you.
it. Well, welcome.
There you go.
Welcome back to the Hamilton County Coaches Show. Here's a couple programming reminders for us. Coming up this week on Hamilton County Television, 2 exciting football games for you. Friday night, both games at 7 o'clock. We will have Carmel at Noblesville, and then also Decatur Central at Westfield. And don't forget, we partnered with the Fishers High School to showcase their student-produced sports on Hamilton County Television. You can now watch Fishers Sports Network games on www.hcv2.com on the Fishers Sports Channel. Also, coming up the following week, we begin coverage of cross country. That will be a week from tomorrow. And then also, the following week, we have volleyball coming. So a lot of things happening here on Hamilton County Television on the sports side here at HCTV. We'd like to thank our executive producer, Jim Wofford, our producer, Perry Williams, for all of their input and helping us with the show tonight. And we'd like to thank most of all you for joining us for the broadcast tonight of the Hamilton County High School Football Coaches Show, presented by Logan Street Signs and Banners, celebrating 25 years in business. We'd also like to thank our other great sponsors, Greek's Pizza at 317-773-4444. You can dine in, you can take it out, you can call ahead, you can do whatever you want. They're very accommodating there at Greek's Pizza on South 10th Street in Noblesville. Noblesville Trophies, Community Health, and the Hamilton County Reporter at www.readthereporter.com. Until next Monday night at 7 o'clock, my name is Brad Silbert. Good night.